Yo, what's up guys? It is a new day and I got a new toy here that will come in handy sometime very soon. I'll show it soon, but not now. So what we're gonna do is pull this car back in, give it a quick wipe down in the areas that need wiping down, and get onto just some spot painting, because I feel like if I can get all of this knocked out, then I can get onto polishing it, making it look nice, and yeah, it shouldn't take too long. Spot painting doesn't take long. So yeah, let's get this baby pulled in and get it wiped down. Alright, new day. So, it is absolutely pissing down with rain. Well, not right this second, but as you can see, it is real wet. It is freezing outside. It must be 1 degree Celsius. So just above freezing, really. And there was a pretty crazy frost this morning, so it's pretty miserable working outside weather today. I will continue working on that car a bit, but to keep going on the touch-up painting, I'm gonna have to dry off the thing, and most of my towels are still drying from the wash, and so I'm gonna work on something else for a sec. These are the floor mats that were in there. They're pretty old, pretty worn out, but floor mats are expensive, man. Like they're like 50 American dollars or something. It's like 4,000 Icelandic krona plus. Like that's the basic. So they're pretty expensive. So what I think I'm going to do with them is literally just grab one of them, take them over here, give them a really good cleanup, and then because they're kind of just faded and old, just going to throw across some matte black spray paint, see how it looks. Worst case scenario, they look like trash and I just throw them and I get some new ones, but I think they'll turn up alright. So I think that's what we're going to do. Alright, so I've cleaned these off, given them a good scrub down, dried them off and everything. They are clean to the touch. However, as you can see, the darkness on the, like, you know, the nice blackness of the matte has not come back. You probably saw in the footage. I also tried doing a little of the heat gun technique to sort of bring out the oils that are still residing within the rubber. And although it did improve it a little bit, it's not even close to where I would like it. And just this dirt is so stubborn. And also I'm just kind of curious to see what would happen if I just threw on some black paint. We want matte black. This is purchased in the middle of the pandemic where it was impossible to get black paint. So I think this is more of like an art, quote unquote, black paint that I just got because it was available literally in Akureyri where I am. There was no black paint available at all. It was brutal. So anyway, what I'm going to do is probably hold this outside the door because it's raining out here and pretty miserable and pretty windy. So I'm just going to hold that outside the door, give it a spray down, see how we go. Yeah, let's give it a crack. Alright, so there's a definite difference there. That is the freshly painted. This is the driver's side that's unpainted at this stage. It's still a bit wet, so you know it's got a bit of uneven texture to it, but that's alright, it'll dry. Yeah, the difference isn't absolutely enormous, but I think with all four mats looking like that, the rest of the car cleaned up on the inside, it will make a difference. And the truth is, I hate this paint. I hate it. It's super... I don't quite know how to describe it other than it's powdery. You know, it's very dry spray paint, and I find that to be very very difficult to deal with. Yeah, so I'm not really a huge fan of this paint, so I'm not fussed at all about using it on these mats. I'm just gonna do it. So I'm gonna clear out, I'm gonna finish up doing this one, and then jump onto the rear mats that have been drying there. So yeah, let's get onto it. Alright, check it out. This one got a bit rained on while I was painting it, so it's kind of ugly, but whatever, who the hell cares? It's in the backseat anyway. But, I mean, yeah, the lighting, again, not fantastic, but they turned out black. Go figure. So, happy days, that's all I wanted from it. Gonna probably get the heat gun on them, dry them off, let them air out a little bit, and choose something else to do. The rain's a pain in the ass today, because it's really windy, so it's... As far as like painting and stuff on this car is concerned, I really can't do too much. Might be able to drag it in and try and do some mechanical stuff. I'll work it out. We are planning on painting the front bumper, just a little bit of the front bumper and a little bit of the rear bumper, just to sort of get that black line on the side of the Skoda, just kind of flowing rather than just a block of black on it. So fingers crossed, everything should go super smooth. I'm just going to bring the car into the garage here so that we're out of the, there's not much wind outside, but so that we're out of the elements, and get it cleaned up, do some paint lines, get it painted on, see how we go. Let's do it. Cause we don't feel like throwing it all away. We don't feel like it. This time it's not about escaping. We don't feel like it. We don't feel like it. Cause we don't feel like throwing it all away. Alright, so basically the plan is, if you can see, I'll get a better view on this side. If you can see, I've got the black paint down here, and what I'm going to do is, there is a subtle body line that follows all the way up to here, and I think what I plan on doing is just taping off this and underneath here, and just kind of meeting them up so that you get this nice angled black body line there. To be honest, I don't really know how it's going to look, but I didn't know how that one was going to look, and it turned out looking alright. So I'm just going to give it a whirl, and at worst case scenario, we just, I don't know, who cares? This car, who cares? Let's do it. Alright, so got this, taped up enough, I think. as well as I sanded it down with just some 800 grit sandpaper. So now what I'm going to do is just give it one last wipe down with some alcohol, and then hit it with a primer, let that dry, hit it with a gloss black, just like the side of the car, and then with a clear. And I'm going to get the heat gun out just to sort of speed up the process. Also because, as you might be able to see outside, well, probably not, it's cloudy, it's wet, it's not warm. So none of this is ideal painting conditions, but as you can see, we're running a professional operation here. So let's get to it. All right, so primer down, look good, looks fine. Both sides, I'll give it a minute to dry. Get on with the heat gun as well. Give it maybe 10-15 minutes to dry, and then we're gonna get onto gloss black. I tell you what, heat gun speeds everything up when it comes to dodgy paint jobs. Absolutely for it. One day, I'll actually get a compressed air gun and do it properly, but for the time being, we're doing rattle cans, baby. Yeah, so that's where that's at. Let's get this dried up and ready to go. All right, got the black base coat on that you can barely see because of the lighting and the camera, but it's there. 3 coats of base. I'm pretty happy with it. It's good. Quick hot tip for you. Oh my gosh. If you're going to do anything on a car that requires any form of finesse, I'm talking paint-wise, if you can, try and get a hold of spray cans with this head on it. This thing makes a world of difference. A world of difference. The guy at the shop when I first got my spray cans, he told me these ones are a touch more expensive, like a couple of bucks more expensive. And he told me, oh yeah, it's definitely worth it. And I was like, I'll try with the cheap ones, which is your normal sort of, let's see if I can get this off one-handed, which is your normal sort of spray can head. And, you know, it was fine, but it kind of just throws it out in spurts. This one does an amazing job of dispersing it, like really misting it out there. So it made it much easier to put on a bunch of light layers as opposed to just like 1 or 2 really heavy layers that I didn't want to put that quite as heavy. Anyway, so if you get a chance, if you're going to do anything with paint, highly recommend it. Highly recommended. All right, so I've hit that with a heat gun as well. I'm going to leave it for another 5 or so minutes. Take the tape off. Definitely record that. And then hit it with a clear coat. And yeah, what I'm going to do is take the tape off and hit it with a clear coat on top of the regular and just clean it off as best I can. That way, when it comes to actually blending the clear, it'll blend onto the body and not just be a hard base and clear line, if you kind of get my drift. So yeah, we'll do that in a minute. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. I mean, we'll see how it looks once we get the car outside, but it looks pretty good to me. I mean, in many ways it almost looks OEM. So I'm pretty happy with it. So I'll let that dry just for a little bit longer. Then I'll get a bit of clear on this whole area. Just sort of just smooth the transition between there. But I am going to have to do some cleaning of the panel first so that we don't clear coat in a bunch of crap, basically. Yeah, so I think that turned out pretty alright. Nice. So it turned out looking fine. You know, it's not gonna change the world here. But for a little garage job, took about an hour and a half, maybe a touch more, all said and done with the masking and the multiple layers and the heat gun and everything. Pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. So I will take it outside. I'll check and see if it'll actually show up on camera, but odds are it's a tad dark. The camera doesn't really do it justice. So you might not be able to see it, but I'll give it a crack. I'll just move the car back outside. We'll see if we can see it in the sort of late evening light. Yeah. Well, late afternoon. We're not even in the evening. It's getting dark so early now. Anyway, let's take it outside. Yeah, you can't really see it. Alright guys, what's up? So, right here we have the cheapest clay bar I could get a hold of, direct from Shanwan something something in China. So we'll see. I mean, it feels like a regular clay bar. It's pretty tough right now because it's cold outside, so I'm gonna have to work it a little bit in my hands, I think, to get it nice and warm, but we're gonna clay bar the Skoda right there. I just gave it a wash down with actual dish soap of all things, just to really degrease the thing. And I have to be relatively quick because it's cold. Don't know if you can see out there, but we have snow. It's like -1 Celsius. It was -5 or 6 earlier today, so this is positively balmy. Yeah, all right. Let's get to claying. I've never done this before, so this should be interesting. It's labor intensive. I've never done that before, but it turned out real nice, like buttery smooth. And considering how bad this paint it's nice. I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm buggered. Gotta pack it in for the night. It's cold, it's dark, and I'm really wet from doing all that. So let's pick it back up again tomorrow. All right. So we're gonna get onto some compounding. I have completely clay barred the car, and it is smooth but still rough paint because of just the various repainting bits and just faded old oxidized paint. So now we're gonna have a crack at compounding the car using this and this, to which I have never used before, so I don't know what the different pads are for. My basic rudimentary understanding is that tougher pads, heavier cut. So this is a pretty thick, tough pad. This is thinner and softer, and this is thinner and softer still. So yeah, let's just give it a crack and see how we go. Just gonna prep the pad a little bit because I know you're supposed to do that, and then dab it on top of the car, and then just at a slow medium pace, just start working it in and see how it goes. I've never done it before, so first time for everything. Let's do it. Alright, well, so I have done half the car. I've compounded it. Because I don't have any good polish, I've decided I'm just going to wax over the compound, which I know is not the right way to do it. You're supposed to compound and polish, I know that, but I don't have it. And it's winter. And I can't leave this out unwaxed overnight in the cold and the snow. It's unprotected, so I'm just going to go and slap on some wax on it. But it turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. The shine is, for how old the paint is, pretty good. Especially for my first crack at it, I'd say that's a decent job. So I'm just going to get some wax on it and call this half of the car done.